Sacred ones, welcome to a space where hearts are lifted, minds are renewed, and spirits are set ablaze with divine truths. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most cherished passages in the Bible, Psalm 23. This isn't just a chapter in Scripture, it's a roadmap to peace, purpose, and an unshakable connection with God. Let me tell you this up front. If you allow the words of Psalm 23 to truly saturate your soul, it can transform your life in ways you never imagined. Ready to discover how? Let's begin. The Lord is my shepherd. The power of divine leadership. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. These 7 simple words hold a universe of meaning and comfort, pointing us to a relationship with God that is both personal and profound. In ancient times, shepherds were devoted caretakers, vigilantly watching over their sheep. They knew each other by name, protected them from predators, and led them to green pastures and still waters. This verse from Psalm 23 draws on that imagery, painting God as a shepherd who provides, protects, and leads his people with unwavering love and care. But here's the deeper truth. The phrase "I shall not want" doesn't mean life will be free from hardship. Instead, it assures us that under God's care, we will lack nothing essential for our journey. He supplies not just our physical needs, but also our emotional and spiritual sustenance. Even when life feels chaotic, God's presence guarantees peace and provision. Picture doesn't just herd sheep. He guides them gently with patience and wisdom, even through treacherous paths. Similarly, God doesn't abandon us when wolves like fear, doubt, or loss threaten to overwhelm us. Instead, he steps in, shielding us with his strength and guiding us through the darkness. This verse also challenges. Have we truly allowed God to be our shepherd? So often, we try to navigate life's complexities on our own, relying on limited wisdom. Yet the promise of this verse becomes real when we surrender, trusting God to lead us. Let Psalm 23:1 remind you, you are never alone or without purpose. Your shepherd walks ahead, ensuring that every step you take is held within his perfect plan. Will you let him guide your journey? 2. He makes me lie down in green pastures. Rest for the soul. He makes me lie down in green pastures. This line from Psalm 23 is more than poetic imagery. It's a divine invitation to rest, renewal, and trust in God's care. In a society that idolizes busyness, this verse cuts through the noise, reminding us that rest is not laziness. It's a necessity, a sacred rhythm designed by God. Sheep only lie down when they feel completely safe, well-fed, and similarly, God, the Good Shepherd, offers us a place of spiritual security and abundance. The green pastures represent more than physical rest. They signify our soul-deep replenishment. They're a picture of God's provision where our deepest needs are met and we can find rest for our weary hearts. Yet, how often do we resist this gift? Picture a sheep stubbornly telling the shepherd, "I can keep going." It seems absurd. Yet don't we do the same? We push ourselves to the brink, ignoring the shepherd's call to pause. But God knows what we need, even when we don't. His guidance is gentle yet firm, urging us to lay down our burdens and trust him to provide. Here's the truth. Resting in God isn't a sign of weakness. It's a declaration of faith. When we stop striving, we acknowledge that he is the source of all we need. His green pastures might look like an unhurried morning in prayer, a walk in nature, or even a moment of silence amidst a chaotic day. Let today be the day you step out of the hustle. Allow the shepherd to lead you to stillness, nourishment, and peace. In his care, you'll find not only rest, but also the strength to journey forward with renewed purpose. 3. He leads me beside still waters. Refreshing your spirit life's challenges can leave even the strongest among us feeling drained and overwhelmed. But Psalm 23 offers a profound promise. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. These words are not just poetic. They're a lifeline for weary souls. The imagery of still waters reflects tranquility, clarity, and renewal. Picture a serene lake, its surface smooth and undisturbed, mirroring the sky above. That's the spiritual peace God offers when we pause in his presence. In the busyness of life, it's easy to forget that rest isn't a luxury. It's a necessity. Still waters remind us that restoration begins not in striving but in surrender. Research shows that spending time in nature or meditating in silence can lower stress levels and rejuvenate the mind. This parallels the spiritual truth in Psalm 23. God, like a shepherd, knows exactly what we need. He doesn't just point us toward peace. He actively leads us there. But how often do we resist? We chase solutions, cling to our schedules, and forget to seek the source of true restoration. Restoration is not just physical rest. It's a renewal of spirit. It's releasing burdens, finding clarity in prayer, and letting God's love wash over us. So, sacred ones, ask yourself, when was the last time you let God lead you to those still waters? If the answer is too long, make today the day. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, picture those calming waters. Let God's peace fill every corner of your soul, reminding you that even in the storm, He provides the stillness you need to thrive. 4. He guides me in paths of righteousness, purposeful living. He leads me in paths of righteousness for His name's sake. Psalm 23:3 is a profound reminder of God's active role in shaping your life. This verse declares that you are not a mere product of random circumstances. You are divinely designed with a unique purpose. Your existence is woven into God's eternal story, and He is committed to guiding you toward a life of significance and fulfillment. The paths of righteousness mentioned here are not just moral guidelines or a checklist of good deeds. Instead, they are a lifestyle rooted in reflecting God's character, His love, mercy, and justice. Living righteously means being a beacon of His glory in a world yearning for hope and truth. It's about making choices that align with His will, even when they require courage and sacrifice. The phrase "for His name's sake" adds an even deeper layer of meaning. Your journey of righteousness is not only for your benefit, but also to reveal God's greatness to the world. Each step you take on this path brings honor to His name, showcasing His transformative power in your life. When you choose kindness over revenge, integrity over compromise, or generosity over selfishness, you magnify His glory. Sacred ones, resist the temptation to settle for a life of mediocrity or comfort. God's calling on your life is far greater. Walk boldly in the paths He leads, trusting that His direction is perfect and purposeful. Every challenge, every triumph, and every decision to follow Him builds a testimony that inspires others and glorifies Him. Let your life be a masterpiece of His righteousness, crafted for His name's sake. You are not just walking a path, you're leaving a legacy of faith. 5. Even though I walk through the valley, fearless faith. Let's face it, life isn't always a mountaintop experience. There are valleys, and some are so deep and dark they feel suffocating. The valley of the shadow of death isn't just poetic language. It's the raw, unfiltered reality of fear, pain, and uncertainty that everyone faces at some point. But here's the twist that changes everything. You don't walk through it alone. Psalm 23:4 isn't just comforting words. It's a profound declaration of faith. The valley represents life's hardships, loss, betrayal, failure, or moments when hope seems distant. But notice the key word, through. You're not stuck in the valley. You're passing through it. The presence of God, your shepherd, ensures that this isn't your final chapter. He's there to guide, protect, and lead you toward brighter pastures. And what about that shadow? Shadows only exist where there's light. In your darkest moments, the presence of shadows is a reminder that God's light hasn't left you. His promises are unwavering. I will never leave you nor forsake you, Deuteronomy 31:6. Historically, shepherds in biblical times carried two tools, a rod for protection and a staff for guidance. These weren't mere props. They symbolized security and direction. God's presence in your valley is just as tangible, wielding protection against unseen threats and guidance when the path feels uncertain. So, what's the takeaway? Valleys aren't forever, and shadows can't harm you. They're a testament to God's light and love. surrounding you even when life feels overwhelming. Lean on his presence. Take the next step forward and know this truth. The shepherd is with you, and the valley is not where your story ends. 6. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. Imagine walking through a dark valley, unsure of the path ahead. Suddenly you see a shepherd holding 2 tools, a rod and a staff. These are not just symbols. They are instruments of care, protection, and guidance. The shepherd's rod is a sturdy weapon used to fend off predators, while the staff, with its gentle curve, is designed to guide and rescue. In Psalm 23, when David says, "Your rod and your staff, they comfort me," he acknowledges God's dual role in our lives, defender and guide. The rod represents God's power to protect us from unseen dangers. When the enemy lurks in the shadows, be it fear, temptation, or adversity, God wields his rod to shield us. This is not a passive comfort, it's an active intervention, a divine declaration that we are not alone in our battles. The staff, on the other hand, is a symbol of God's gentle guidance. Sheep are prone to wander, often straying into perilous terrain. The shepherd uses the staff to nudge them back onto the safe path. Similarly, when we stray from God's will, he doesn't abandon us. Instead, he lovingly pulls us back, even if it takes a bit of discipline. It's easy to view God's correction as harsh, but it's actually an act of grace. Like a parent guiding a child away from harm, God's discipline ensures our growth and safety. Sacred ones, his rod protects your soul, and his staff guides your steps. Together, they are not instruments of fear, but tools of love, designed to comfort, direct, and keep you in his care. Let this truth sink in. God's hands are never heavy. They are always intentional, shaping you for his purpose. 7. You prepare a table before me. Victory over adversity, the verse, "You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies," from Psalm 23. 5 is a profound reminder of God's power, provision, and victory. Think about it. A table isn't just a casual snack bar. It symbolizes abundance, celebration, and fellowship. God doesn't just ensure your survival. He goes above and beyond to bless you openly, even in the face of those who oppose you. Imagine a king hosting a banquet for you, not in some hidden chamber, but boldly before your enemies. That's the imagery here. It's not about arrogance. It's about God demonstrating his faithfulness and your worth in him. By preparing this table, God declares that no weapon formed against you will prosper, Isaiah 54:17. The enemies, fear, insecurity, betrayal, or even literal opposition, are forced to witness your triumph. They are powerless as you thrive. This table is not merely material blessings, but peace, joy, purpose, and spiritual strength. It's the quiet confidence you carry when others expect you to crumble. It's the inexplicable calm you feel in the storm, the clarity amidst confusion. So what does this mean for you? If you're overwhelmed by life's challenges, remember that your circumstances do not dictate the outcome. God does. He's already setting the table. Your part is to trust him, sit down, and partake of the blessings he offers. Let this imagery be your anchor. God is not only defending you, he's celebrating you. Your enemies, whether external or internal, don't get the last laugh. The table before you is proof that God's plans for you are good, victorious, and unshakable. So take a seat. The feast is yours. Biscuit overflows of my head with oil. My cup overflows. This verse, found in Psalm 23:5, is a vivid metaphor for divine provision and abundance. In ancient times, anointing with oil symbolized honor, healing, and the bestowal of God's favor. It marks someone as chosen, set apart, and deeply loved by the Creator. The imagery of an overflowing cup amplifies this, showing that God's blessings don't just trickle, they overflow. Think about it. When a cup overflows, it's not merely full, it surpasses capacity. This symbolizes how God doesn't stop at meeting our needs. He exceeds them. His love is not confined by human limitations or circumstances. Sacred ones, this is a promise of abundance, both spiritually and in life's tangible reality. It's about joy that persists in trials, peace that surpasses understanding, and provision that comes at just the right time. Gratitude plays a pivotal role in recognizing this overflow. When you pause to reflect on the ways God has already blessed you, big or small, you begin to see His hand in your life more clearly. Have you noticed the breath in your lungs, the roof over your head, the relationships that sustain? These are not coincidences but divine acts of care. Gratitude shifts your perspective. It turns complaints into praise and lack into abundance. It opens your heart to the flow of God's goodness. As you thank Him, you position yourself to receive even more. Just like the psalmist, you'll find that your life reflects an overflowing cup, a testament to God's lavish love and generosity. So today, take a moment to say thank you and watch how gratitude unveils the abundance you already have. 9. Surely goodness and mercy. The divine pursuit, surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. This powerful declaration from Psalm 23:6 paints a vivid image. Goodness and mercy, two divine attributes, actively pursuing you, not as passive bystanders, but as determined and loyal companions. In biblical terms, goodness refers to the abundance of God's benevolent acts toward us, His grace, love, and favor that are poured into our lives daily. Mercy, on the other hand, is God's compassion, His ability to forgive us even when we fall short. Together, they form a dynamic partnership, chasing us with relentless love and unmerited grace. Consider this. God's blessings are not momentary. They are not a sporadic sprinkle of good fortune. They are constant, like a river that never runs dry. God's goodness and mercy do not disappear once we reach a certain level of faith or success. They follow us all the days of our lives, through our triumphs and failures, through our moments of joy and times of struggle. Now, here's the twist. We often find ourselves running away from our past, from the mistakes we've made, or from the pain we've endured. We forget that while we run, God's goodness and mercy are chasing us. Instead of hiding, we should be running toward His promises, embracing the divine gifts He has set in motion. This verse invites us to stop looking over our shoulders in fear and the goodness and mercy that God offers are not to be feared, but embraced. So, sacred ones, stop running from your past. Step into the flow of His eternal blessings, where goodness and mercy will meet you with open arms, guiding you toward a future filled with hope. I will dwell in the house of the Lord. Eternal hope, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. These words from Psalm 23:6 are not just a beautiful closing verse. They are a profound declaration of eternal hope. In the midst of life's challenges and uncertainties, this promise offers us a glimpse into a reality beyond the physical world. A life with God that is unshakable and everlasting. The phrase house of the Lord symbolizes not just a physical place, but the eternal presence of God. Throughout the Bible, the idea of dwelling with God represents peace, security, and fulfillment. It's a home where we are accepted, loved, and continually nourished by divine grace. The eternal nature of this promise reminds us that no matter what we face on earth, whether joy or sorrow, there is a future waiting for us that is free from pain, fear, and loss. When we live with the understanding of eternity, life's temporary struggles take on a different perspective. We are no longer bound by the limitations of time. Our trials, however difficult, become stepping stones towards something far greater. This mindset shifts us from merely surviving life to truly thriving. It empowers us to embrace challenges with resilience, knowing that they are part of a larger divine purpose. The promise of dwelling with God forever isn't just a future hope. It's a present reality that shapes how we live today. It gives us purpose, joy, and strength, rooted in the assurance that nothing can separate us from God's eternal love. When you carry this eternal perspective, you walk through life with a sense of peace that the world cannot take away, and you can thrive in the knowledge of forever. Sacred ones, Psalm 23 isn't just a passage to read, it's a lifestyle to live. Allow these words to sink into your spirit and change the way you see God, yourself, and the world. If this message has blessed you, make sure to like this video, subscribe to join this growing community, and share it with someone who needs to hear these truths. Together, Let's walk boldly as the chosen ones, living with purpose, peace, and Having said this,